Get ready for a transformative journey. The Virtual Power Shop, a $299 value, is reduced for our valued listeners to just $149 for a limited time only. This self-paced resiliency course is your key to breaking free from life's challenges. Act now. Listeners can access this exclusive program at thevirtualpowershop.com. It's not just a course, it's your journey to getting unstuck and reshaping your life's path. Don't miss out. Thevirtualpowershop.com. Get unstuck today. I'm Alma Lee. I'm a psychotherapist and transformative lifestyle resiliency coach and author, and I want to help you reach your goals by teaching you how to step outside of those fear-based mindsets and into your powerful, loving self. Let's get started. So here in the United States, and I think that this holds true in most Western cultures, is that we exist in a predominantly capitalist society. That means, if you want something, you got to work for it. And I talk a lot about programming. I talk a lot about culture, society, family systems, and about how those concepts groom us into certain mindsets. And today's episode, I want to at least, plant a seed of thought for you about a reset. Have you ever heard of the term reset or CTRL+ALT+DEL? I like to call it a reset. It's, I'm going to get into the reasons for it first, and then I'm going to describe what it is and how to do it. I think that it's fair to say most of us, myself included, exist in a space where we feel guilty or shameful if we're not working, if we are not constantly grinding or hustling in a space of reaching an objective, obtaining a goal. Now, I want to be very careful here in how I use my words, because there is an enormous amount of benefit to obtaining your goals. I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't work hard. I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't grind. I'm talking about moderation, and I'm talking about being mindful and knowing what you need when you need it, which is rest. There has to be polarity. There has to be a yin and a yang. There has to be equal opposites. And so when you work hard, you need to rest just as hard. And I think that that's what most of us are not achieving and not doing. And I think that the reason why we don't do that is because we are groomed to believe that it's wrong. We feel lazy. We feel wrong. And I think for a lot of us, maybe you, that when we are quiet, when we are still, when we are sedentary, when we don't have the TV or the computer or the phone in our face, it's actually a stressor. It's a trigger, because when we are so adapted to the dopamine response of achieving a particular task or a goal, then that becomes our drug. That becomes our drug of choice. Overworking becomes our drug of choice. Listen, I'll never try and make anybody feel judged here. This is just me trying to help you look at what you're doing in order to be more efficient in your goal achievement, in setting those goals and achieving those goals in a more efficient manner. And so it's like, I'll compare it to going to the gym. If you go to the gym every single day and you work out the same muscle group every single day, what do you think is going to happen? It's eventually going to fail. And then the results of that will, it'll show up in your mental health. And that's not good. And I think that sometimes we just need to hear somebody tell us that it's okay to rest. Seriously. There's a lot of people who are in media, social media, mainstream media, who are go-getters, they're hustlers, they are grinders, they achieve their goals, and they set forth to encourage you to do the same. They say, hey, look at what I've done for myself. Look at what I've done for my family. Look at all the money that I've made. Look at the houses and the cars and the achievements and the accolades and the degrees and all of these things that create within us a desire to do the same. So we might get it into our heads that that's it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to achieve those results, and I'm going to work, and I'm going to constantly just toil until I get to that end goal. Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes, because we hear it all the time. We hear people say, it's okay to take a break. It's okay to rest. We also hear people say it's okay to go to therapy. It's okay to ask for help, but it's easier said than done. So let's talk about a reset. Have you ever heard the term reset? Kind of like when your computer's not working right, what do? You reset it, don't you? You restart it. Well, I want to encourage you to do the same. People who are in crisis, this is probably not necessarily appropriate for you. I think that, people who are considering self-harm, then this is absolutely not for you. This is for you to ask for help, to seek out emergency medical interventions, because it's too far gone at that point. In that analogy scenario, going to the gym, that's like going to the gym, breaking your leg, and then trying to sit it out. That's a crisis. You need intervention at that point. So if you've broken your leg, so to speak, make sure that you are assessing that by getting an external professional opinion on the matter. That being said, if you are exhausted, if you find that you are snippy, short, impatient, irritated, feeling full of anxiety, maybe you're feeling a little down, maybe you're feeling depressed and you feel like you just can't get out of that space. Maybe you're not in crisis necessarily, but you're just in this place, this funk. Well, you know what? I think maybe you might need a reset. I think maybe you would benefit from a reset. So let's talk about it. I like to reset at a minimum of twice a year, sometimes more. I think this time I've done 2 this year already. And sometimes my resets sort of tend to happen to me because they weren't planned. And I had to take a knee because I felt like I was just overwhelmed and I needed, some people call it a mental health day. This is a little bit more intensive, and it's more intentional, as opposed to calling it a mental health day where, I hear a lot of people say that I'm taking a mental health day. Well, a lot of times people just don't go to work, their actual job that day, but they end up staying home, taking care of tasks that need to be addressed in the home space. That's not a reset. You're not resetting anything. You're just shifting some of your priorities off for another day, and that doesn't do you any bit of good. Now, I think a lot of times where people don't actually engage in this too is because, it's that cultural mindset. It's the feeling that you don't deserve it or you shouldn't do it. It's bad for you to take a time out. I want to encourage you. I want to set a trend. If this resonates with you, please share this podcast. I would so appreciate it if you would share this episode with a friend that you think needs to hear it. If you know of somebody that is overworked, who doesn't know how to take a break, who does not know how to self-advocate properly, and you love that person, send them this episode, please, and let them know that you love them and that you want them to take better care of themselves, and you want to give them permission to reset. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about what a reset is, okay? This is an intentional space that you take for yourself. Now, it's hard. It's not an easy task for people who are workaholics, for people who are driven, for people who have gotten it into their head that, achieving that particular goal is the only focus. And there's a fear attached to the fact that if you don't work, then you've somehow failed yourself. Oh my God, or God forbid you failed your family or your coworkers. Listen, that's not what this is, okay? This is just a pause. This is an intentional pause, right? So a reset. A reset is a day in complete and total isolation from the world. I know. Hear me out. A reset. Maybe if you're a young parent, if you have little ones at home, maybe you plan your reset out 2 weeks out in advance. You make arrangements. You have somebody come in and take care of the kids. You talk to your spouse. You talk to your friends. You say, this is my day. I'm taking this day. And if you can't do it at home, if you don't have the space, if you don't have the, understanding, sometimes we're in connections with people who just do not get it. And I understand that too. I hear people, that's a big reason why they come and talk to me, is because their partners just don't get it. They don't communicate, and they're in this, the reason that they need the reset to begin with is because their partners are not on board with it, all right? So I understand. I do. Let me continue to expound on this. If your home is not a good place to reset, if you don't have a place in the basement where you can hole up for the day, you can, read a book or shut the curtains, I recommend, if you have the ability, to go and stay in a hotel, if you can, in the same city that you're in. You don't have to go on a far off adventure. This is a reset. This is not to be confused with a vacation. This is a reset. This is intentional. All right. So here's what it looks like. Let's say you do it at home. If you do it at home, highly recommend that if you have the wherewithal, to tidy up your space, the room that you're going to stay in. Tidy it up. Even if it means not necessarily folding that mountain of laundry, can you move it out of the way? And if you can't, that's okay. You pick and choose your battles, all right? When's the last time you changed your bedding? Get that taken care of. Change out your bedding. Get a fresh start, a fresh, clean bed. I sleep with a sleep mask. I can't sleep without a sleep mask. I got to block out all the lights. So I highly, highly recommend that you get a pressure sensitive sleep mask. You can find them on Amazon. They're real easy to find. You want to get one that has like the little soft edges so that your eyes can open underneath the sleep mask, so that the pressure is around your eye, not on your eye. Light blocking sunshades or curtains. Those are big. You want to pull those too. You want to disconnect. That's what a reset is. You're unplugging. You're unplugging from all the stimulation, all the people, all the priorities, all the expectations. You are unplugging, and you're doing this intentionally. Water. I recommend water and Gatorade, or your favorite electrolyte beverage. That way you're not rinsing out all your electrolytes, just guzzling water. If you have the ability to take a warm bath, take a warm shower, take a cold bath, take a cold shower. They have different benefits for different reasons, different relaxation elements. I like taking hot baths. I soak. I like to get a good sweat right before I go to bed. That's my jam. I've been doing that for years. If you're a drinker or if you use any kind of substances, I highly recommend that you at least cut back if you can't stop altogether. That being said, if you have an issue with alcohol and you drink heavily, I don't recommend that you change that just because alcohol is the one drug that if you go cold turkey on it can actually kill you. You can go into cardiac arrest if you stop drinking all of a sudden, if you have a physical addiction to alcohol. Now, that being said, if you don't and you just enjoy a glass of wine each evening, try to go without. If you use cannabis, try to not use cannabis. Try to clear out your system to some degree. And if you can't, again, remember, this is a reset, so you're going to pick and choose your battles. You're going to do the best you can. There are no hard and fast rules to doing this. You have to just make an effort to do the best that you can to get yourself into what is uniquely your space of comfort, just for this reset, right? Comfort is the enemy to growth. We're not trying to grow here. We're trying to rest. So you want to become comfortable, and you have to be the person to determine what that comfort is. If having that glass of wine is something that you need in order to be on that headspace of reset, have your glass of wine. I'm not judging you. I'm not shaming you. I'm just saying that if you can go without, then you're giving your system a break from processing alcohol and sugar. But again, you decide what's uniquely your path to being comfortable. Food, snacks. things of that nature, things that are readily accessible, bedside table, and something that you can, keep your calories up while you're resting. I told a friend, and this has been probably about a year or so ago, who had called me up. Obviously, I'm not going to name her, but she had called me up and she was just really overwhelmed. And this is a very high-functioning professional person. And I could hear the shame and I could hear the exhaustion. And I said, well, you sound tired. I said, why don't you go to bed? I said, and she's like, well, I know so-and-so worries about me. I said, okay, so communicate with them. Tell them that you're going to do this. And I said, go sleep. And she ended up sleeping for about 15 hours. And she called me back and she was kind of laughing about it. She's like, hell, I knew I needed a nap, but my Lord. So here's the intentionality of it, right? In the recess, I think a perfect reset is two days. Now, I get it. We're all busy people. 2 days is asking a lot, especially pulling yourself away from your obligations. But something to think about. Think about the fact that if you're struggling with just taking 2 days away from your priorities, can't you recognize the need for it altogether? If you can't just do that, at least you can recognize the need. See? You see how this all connects? So take a day. So 24 hours. And if you can sleep the entire time, I recommend that. Your body, your mind just needs to be turned off for a little while. And it needs to be turned off in an intentional way as opposed to a survival way, right? So when I talk about survival way, we do that every night when we go to bed, when we lie down and we are completely wiped out from our day, and then we wonder why we can't sleep, because that's when our minds sort of go haywire and the anxiety goes through the roof, and we ask ourselves, what did I forget? What did I not do today? What am I supposed to do tomorrow? Listen, I do it too. That's why I know about it. And I know that this helps me. And to be able to do a reset day without the shame or the judgment attached to it, and then you are able to support your friends and family so that they can take their reset day. Think about the impact on your relationships. Think about the impact on your energy level, your mental health. So showers, baths, clean sheets, dark light blocking curtains, tidying up your place, water, electrolyte, Gatorade, whatever, some snacks. If the quiet is too much and that's too stressful for you, turn on a movie. But be careful with what you watch. Okay, watch something that is energetically in alignment with where you want to be. So, for instance, you don't want to watch something that's going to make you depressed, like murder mysteries and television shows where people are, oppressed, or documentaries where you see the horrible happenings in the world. This is a reset. This is not a political issue. This is not culture. This is not obligation. This is about you being intentional in taking some time away from your normal. Your stresses are going to be there when you go back. They're not going anywhere. This is about you prioritizing you, taking a knee, so to speak, and getting the replenishment that you need, that you require in order to attain those goals. And I think, if nothing more, this episode is that permission slip that you might need in order to carry you into actually conveying that desire to your friends and family on achieving that. And also, listen up. If you are a spouse and you recognize your spouse is struggling with taking care of him or herself, maybe this is an opportunity for you to help orchestrate that. Maybe you send this episode to your partner and you say, hey, look, I really would like to do this for you. I would like to get you a room at the local, a nice hotel where it's nice and quiet, and all hotels have those light blocking shades. And just, get them out of the house, get them away from work, have them, make plans in 2 weeks or so. And keep in mind, too, this is not a spa day. This is not about going out, socializing, brunch. That's a different type of rejuvenation. That's not what this is. A reset is unplugging from everything and everybody, being by yourself and processing emotions. There's there's the opportunity here to sit with your emotions, and you may find yourself feeling all of the feelings that you have been avoiding up until that point. And you may become very tearful. Maybe you've lost someone recently, and because you've been working so much, you really haven't processed your grief effectively. You deserve this time. You deserve this opportunity to sit with your feelings and figure out, to be present with them and to not push them down and deny them. Because one thing I do know about emotions, especially grief as an emotion, is that grief will sneak up on you and smack you in the back of the head at the most inopportune time. So that's why you do have to be intentional with taking time to process those feelings. You have to allow it. You have to allow yourself the time, the space to focus on yourself. And I don't hear a lot of it in our society today to tell people to take a 15-hour nap. Oh God, Alma, that's terrible. That person doesn't need to lay in bed all day like that. Well, why not? I mean, seriously, unless you have a health condition that would be aggravated by lying sedentary, such as, having DVT, blood circulation issues, if you have to take blood thinners and lying still, if you're going to have a medical issue because you are sedentary and lying prone for so long, then yeah, take that into consideration. Use good judgment moving forward. But if you just need to rest, I don't see the problem with a 15, heck, even a 20-hour nap. I've done it. I do it. I find it incredibly helpful to keep me moving forward. I am never in my life more energized than when I come out of a reset. I can't even begin to tell you, because in that time frame that I take for myself, after I have rested, I've had time to get out of my head and I can organize my thoughts. My issues and my priorities are still there, but because I have taken that time for myself, I can prioritize them effectively. My time is more efficiently used in order to achieve those goals, because I'm not overwhelmed anymore. I'm excited. I can be purposeful in my direction. I'm clear-headed. Oh man, the clarity that comes from a reset, I can't even tell you. It's amazing. So allow this episode to be your permission slip to take a day to get cooped up by yourself, unplug from the world, do what you have to do in order to rejuvenate yourself. You need to take your feelings. You need to get away from your partner. You need to get away from your job. You need to get away from those kids. Yeah, I know. I've been there. I hear you on that. And you're not a bad person by saying that you need a break. Allow me to say that. If you've never heard that, allow me to say that. I'll say it again. You are not a bad person for needing to take a break. You have to take care of yourself. If you're a mama, if you're a daddy, if you are a hardworking employee, if you are a CEO, if you are an entrepreneur, if you are somebody who is working diligently to try and get on your feet, that's incredibly stressful. You deserve it too. You deserve it too. So you do what you can to make that happen. Communicate clearly. Let people know that you're engaging in a reset. They might, raise an eyebrow at you if they don't know what you're talking about, or if they feel like, well, you're not supposed to be doing that. Oh, yeah, send them this episode. Let them think about it too. Let's start a trend. Let's start a revolution of self-care in a way where we support each other. Oh, you need a reset? Sure. Can I watch your kids that day? Can I come over and bring a meal over for your family since you're not going to be there? Can I cover for you at work since you're not coming in that day? Yeah, can you help me out? Can you take care of those emails for me? Can you take care of that staff meeting since I'm not coming in because I'm taking my reset mental health day? You see how that works? We can all do this, and we can all support each other in this. This doesn't have to be a dirty little secret about something that's got shame attached to it. No, not at all. In fact, I think that we should be actively pursuing these objectives in a way that shines a light on mental health as a way that we can help each other and feel good about our mental health because we're supporting each other as well. So you're not alone by trying to take your reset alone and unplugging. So look on Amazon. If you don't have a sleep mask, if you've never slept with a sleep mask, I highly recommend you try it. Get you some Epsom salts. Epsom salts are great for detoxing the body. If you like to soak, if you don't like to soak, I get that too. But a fresh shower before bed in a freshly made bed, oof, you can't put money on that. There's just something about that will relax the body. Box of tissues. Don't let me forget that. A box of tissues, because if you become tearful, you need to have your tissues there. Cry it out, sleep it out, sleep as long as you need to, dust off all the stress, be good to yourself, take the reset, Control-Alt-Delete, and start fresh. All right. From fear to love. This has been an LBM production. Please like, subscribe, and share this show. Thanks for listening.